Hello, in this video I'm going to do an unboxing for The Good and the Beautiful, Rod and Staff Publishers, Christian Light Publishers, and Teaching Textbooks, and maybe some others I forgot at this point, but I'm just going to be sharing my curriculum choices this year for first grade, third grade, and fourth grade. It's kind of a mix. We don't use all one curriculum, and if I could give you one piece of advice for homeschooling, not just from my own experience, but from other veteran homeschoolers who I've gleaned advice from, don't be stuck on what you think homeschooling should look like initially. For me, this means using a variety of curriculums, kind of a hodgepodge in my opinion, which is not what I wanted initially. I wanted to use all one curriculum from one publisher for every grade, for every kid, but the curriculum I initially wanted to use wasn't working for us, and you have to find what works for your child's learning style and for your teaching style. And if you're like me, you might not even know what your teaching style is at first, but every family is different. Everyone's got their own lifestyle and schedule. And that's the beauty of homeschooling, that you can tailor it to your specific needs of your family and your specific child's learning styles. And I didn't like it, but it did mean for us pulling from different resources and making kind of a hodgepodge curriculum. But it works for us, and the kids enjoy learning, and that's what's important. So I'm going to start with the youngest. My 5-year-old will be starting first grade this year. She's actually, let me grab the box from The Good and the Beautiful. She started first grade last year, kind of early, and started out well, but was struggling throughout the year. And for language arts, I'm going to have her do first grade again, just to make sure she has a good foundation. And she had fun doing it, even though it got challenging at the end, so she's looking forward to doing it over. And from The Good and the Beautiful, I'm actually going to go through our group studies first. This is fun. We got history curriculum from The Good and the Beautiful. This is history year 2. We've already went through the history year 1, and the way it works is they have a 4-year cycle. This isn't part of it. It's another game. There's a 4-year cycle, and you use it for all grades. So once we finish the 4 years, we'll go back to the year 1 curriculum we have, and you can use different worksheets, printable worksheets, depending on the grades your children are in. And I wouldn't suggest the history for a first or second grader unless you have children in older grades, because it is a lot to take in, and they don't absorb a whole lot of the history information in the younger grades. But I do include my first grader in the history, and she enjoys it. And history is a hard one for me because I'm very particular about how we teach history, and I've always filtered through things that we don't agree with or we don't want to put focus on. And a lot of your mainstream history curriculums like ABECA or pretty much any of them, they'll focus on and lift up and glorify certain figures in history like Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King Jr. and in a way that we don't think is true to the facts or that person's actual verbatim quotes and what they really believed or did. That's just a personal opinion. And so if we use those curriculums, we'd have to filter through some of that and say, well, we actually believe this. Personally, my worldview would be closest to the Mennonite curriculums, Rod and Staff, Christian Light, and I've highly considered using those history curriculums, but they're the format for Rod and Staff, it's a classroom format. very dry and boring. But for me, I enjoy it, but my kids would not enjoy it, and I want them to love history. Same with Christian Light. I feel personally like the focus is a little, or the scope is a little narrow on some of the grades. I think not all of the grades are that way, but I want them to have kind of a balanced scope, if that makes sense, not just focusing on one period in history for a whole year. I like to go through different time periods. The Good and the Beautiful is the closest to what, I mean, there's still stuff I want to filter through, but from what I've heard from other homeschoolers, you're going to have to do that with any history curriculum. We do, my dad got us a lifetime membership to Liberty Academy, I believe it is, by Tom Woods, and I like that. I'm going to definitely utilize that when they get a little older, but for now, my kids love the Good and the Beautiful history curriculum because it's very colorful. There's a lot of pictures, there's games. It comes with a book of maps, atlases, pictures from the different countries, a timeline, and there's a game. I pulled out the wrong one at first. Last year there was a board game. This year is a card game. And one thing I want to point out about the Good and the Beautiful curriculum is some people have a concern because the founder is a member of the LDS Church, and we don't see eye to eye on doctrinal issues. But that religion is not put forth in the curriculum. It's vetted by a board of men from different denominations, Baptist, Pentecostal, all these different denominations, and they have vetted it as non-denominational, so there's no doctrinal distinctives. It is a Christian worldview curriculum. It points to a creator God. It is God-fearing, and that's what we want. We don't need, I don't need to have the gospel in my reading curriculum or in my history curriculum. I teach that to my kids when we teach them Bible. I don't think that's necessary to have in math or reading or anything else. As far as supporting the LDS Church, I don't feel like that's what we're doing. If you feel that strongly about it, to be consistent, you would not be able to shop at Walmart because of what they support, or have an iPhone because of what Apple supports, or Google, or anything else. So you need to pick your battles, and that's just my personal viewpoint. Other people feel that it would not be right to use the Good and Beautiful curriculum, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. So here's some of the cards for the history game. We have explorers, ancient peoples, Renaissance. My kids really like the game in the first year of the history curriculum. And history is one subject that we do together as a family, as a group. We read from the book, do the games, and then there's printable worksheets that you can do. For the little ones, it's like a coloring sheet, and it gets more advanced from there. We also have this year, I wanted to get this last year, is the Treehouse Town Parts of Speech game. It says, this exciting game helps children identify 4 basic parts of speech: common nouns, proper nouns, adjectives, and verbs. This goes along with a Treehouse Town reading book set that we got last year and my kids enjoyed, an easy reader set. Another group subject we have this year is bird watching. My youngest daughter is especially obsessed with birds. She got a bird feeder, and we've been watching the different Florida birds that come to feed, which include even herons and egrets, because we have a water hole in the backyard. So this bird, someone's already started working on this. You write down the bird you see, the location, the date, the scavenger hunt. What?
That's Lucas's.
And this is Lucas's. And tells you bird watching tips, and you can learn to journal the birds that you find. And we're trying to learn how to identify birds this year. This is for grades 3 through 8, but my first grader is enjoying starting that too. My kids have already dug into this, and started some school ahead of time because they're so excited about it. So, for my first grader, she is going to do this book over again this year. This is level K. Some people say it's a first grade level. I don't really care. We don't really go by grade levels. We just, for each subject, find where that kid is and go from there. This is a beautiful language arts curriculum, lots of games, colorful pictures. The lessons are very short, usually just one page for the whole day. And it's very manageable. I love the Good and Beautiful curriculum because I'm not great at teaching, and it literally tells you in the lesson, read this to the child, and it's an open and go curriculum. You don't have to prepare anything ahead of time. You just read it out loud to your kid and help them go through it. And that's it's very kinesthetic as well and hands-on, and all three of my kids, especially my youngest, are kinesthetic or tactile learners, and they like the hands-on games and just different things they incorporate. Like to spell a word, you bang a spoon on a pot as you spell each letter, and it sounds ridiculous, but it helps them absorb the information. That's one other thing I like about it. I want to go through all of first grade first before I move on. So for their school, I use these totes from Michael's. This has lasted us, this will be our third year using it, and you can find tutorials online how to print their name. You put packaging tape over the paper and then wash off the paper, and you can use it as labels. Super easy, doesn't cost anything. But these totes are very nice. They pull this out when it's time to do school. That has all their stuff in it. Every year I take them to the Dollar Tree and let them go school shopping and pick out their pencil boxes, pens, notebooks, things like that. It's very cheap at the Dollar Tree, but they enjoy doing it and have fun. This was the notebook Dora picked out for doing her writing and dictation this year. To go along with her language arts book that we bought, she is going to be reusing the reader that used to be Becca's.
Mommy,
Lucas.
I never lose that.
Okay, she never used this. This was Becca's, and it was Lucas's before Becca's. So you can reuse the readers. The workbook itself is consumable. That means you have to buy a new one every year, but the readers you can reuse. And that's it for language arts. For science, kind of an impulse situation here, but someone at our church left on the free table 2 of these Life for Beginners from It's God's Design from Masterbooks curriculum. And it's not something I considered before, but I really liked the format when I looked through it. Only a couple of lessons were done at the beginning. It's basically a consumable workbook for science, and it's Christian based, though they're not, it's not a King James version as far as the verses, so you have to look up the verses in whatever Bible version you believe to be the true Word of God. But these were free. There's 2 of them, so my 3rd grader and my 1st grader will be using these, and they were so excited about them and started going through and doing them. My son asked, could I have one from Masterbooks as well? So, and they're very affordable, although they're not reusable. They're very affordable compared to some other curriculums. So I went ahead and ordered him his level of science, and he's already gone through several lessons of that on his own. And for math, for my 1st grader, I've tried using the Good and the Beautiful Math. Their earlier editions were not working for us. It was a lot of games, and it was overwhelming to me. It was just so much every day. Since then, they've redone their math curriculum. It's called Simply Good and the Beautiful Math, and I think it's a lot more user-friendly now. Thank you. And I would consider kind consider looking into it, but we've already found something that works for us, and I've got the expensive teacher's guides already that were given to me from the Rod and Staff math. I don't think this is the ideal math curriculum, but buying the worksheets each year is very affordable, and it works.
Went to number 5.
And it's just what we've used. If I could do it over and the Simply Good and the Beautiful math was available when they were little, I would use that. But we don't stick with the Rod and Staff throughout all the grades. This is worksheets that you have to use the teacher guide. There's a lot of classroom type activity. It is classroom style. The reason I'm not too worried about the math curriculum at this point is that at grade 3, each of them switched to teaching textbooks online, which I absolutely love. It's $45 per kid for 12 months of math instruction. It's kind of a web game style curriculum. You do it on the computer, and it's math curriculum. It goes through everything. And I'm not good at teaching math, especially when it gets to the higher levels, when you're approaching algebra, trigonometry, stuff like that. I don't have any desire to get into that. So teaching textbooks it is, but they start at grade 3, so first grade and second grade, we're just using these Rod and Staff workbooks because it kind of fell into our lap. Also, from Rod and Staff, I get them a coloring book or workbook every year because we go to Bible school classes as a family 2 or 3 weekday nights, and the little ones like to have something to color. I like something special for them to have to bring there. I like for them to look forward to going to Bible school. So, and it's not just a coloring book, get them some other things as well, sticker books and stuff. And I'm going to move on to my 3rd grader, and she is super excited about this. From Rod and Staff, I'll go ahead and start with this. She specifically asked for a poetry book because she wants to work on poetry this year. It's something I enjoyed as a kid and still do. It's black and white drawings and sweet little poems for kids from a Christian worldview. The Bumblebee,
You
a
got me the
songbook.
poem book?
You didn't know?
No.
Folding diapers.
I forgot all about it.
She's very excited about that. So she'll be working on poetry. Here's the kitty cat pen she got from the dollar store. Here's her tote, Becca. She will be going into level 2 from the Good and the Beautiful. And it's basically the same thing. For the most part, a page or 2 pages a day. It's still very parent-led. You read to the child as they go through it. We have, from my son last year, his reader that will go with that, hand in hand. Actually, there's 2 readers. Oh, here's the other one. This is the personal reader that she will be assigned to read certain pages and then answer questions about it in the book. The shared reader is a little more advanced, above her reading level. We'll read it together and discuss it and narrate it. There's a lot of narration in the Good and the Beautiful where the child will retell the story in their own words. She picked out a notebook for writing from the Dollar Tree, a graph composition book. This will be needed for teaching textbooks. It's got the square grids. It helps a lot in writing out the math problems. She picked out an academic planner. I get each of them a calendar from the Dollar Tree every year, and she wanted to have a planner, and she's already written out her plan for each day because she's like me and likes to have a plan. She has the matching science workbook that we got for free from Masterbooks. And the bird watching notebook, the science curriculum that we do together. Another thing I bought, not from the Dollar Tree for them this year, was on a recommendation from another YouTuber, Homeschool Mom. From Amazon, the Board Geeks dry erase boards. This is a pack of 3 for $10. This is a very high quality dry erase board. Typically I get them each a dry erase board from the Dollar Tree, but they get very streaky and worn out, and the edges fall off. So I'm trying something that might last more than a year this time. They use that a lot for spelling, writing, narration, stuff like that with their language arts. I think that's it for first grade. And we'll move on to...
No, third grade.
Oh, you know what?
Wait, this was mine too. This was in my
Okay. We're going to look at what we got from Christian Light Publications. This is another Mennonite publisher that I love. For handwriting, I got them notebooks from the Christian Light this year. This is something new. We're just trying for the year, but overall, I recommend the Good and Beautiful handwriting. I really like the way it's laid out, and I like their cursive program. They have a color-coded cursive teaching. It makes it very simple. The only reason we're trying something different this year is because I don't feel like my kids are ready to progress to the next level in handwriting from what they had. I didn't focus enough time on handwriting as I should have, and so we're just taking a little break, doing something different, because I didn't want to make them all do the same handwriting books over again. Next year we'll move on to the next level on the Good and Beautiful. But these look like they'll be fun for this year. Cursive for my 2 older kids and manuscript for my youngest. This is the coloring book I got for my son for Bible school, although he informed me that he won't be needing it in Bible school because
I do Bible school.
he does Bible school. He's going to be taking notes and taking tests with the adults, so he'll have to save that for a driving trip or something. I get them each a book, a reading book for just pleasure reading each year. My son got Missionary Stories with the Millers this year for his reading book from Christian Light. My daughter got, I don't know where it is. Is it in here?
Yeah. All my books. This
Oh, she already put it in her tote. Little Prairie Girl from Christian Light, I believe. And I don't know where the youngest reading book is, but
I know where it is.
do you?
Yep. I put it in my coat.
Put it in her tote.
And I gave you my
This
coat.
is my son's box. Oh, he took his label off. He didn't like the way the label looked. I forgot. So, he's got the same thing. He's got a planner to plan out his school day, a composition book for writing and spelling, the graph composition book for math. And for his language arts, we had to order all new because you can't reuse from an older sibling like girls do. His is the level 3, Good and the Beautiful, which some would say is a 4th grade level, or maybe in between 3rd and 4th. This one is still parent-led, but it's increasingly independent. I think by level 4, it's completely child independent. Well, not completely, but working towards being completely independent. So this is a little more involved. There's still really just one spread or 2 pages. Some have more than 2 pages per lesson, but a lot of assignments and independent work. It comes with I Sat by the Sea, a poetry book that goes with the lessons, and the level 3 personal reader, which will be the same thing as in this level 2. There'll be assigned pages to read and answer questions to gauge their reading comprehension. So that's it for 4th grade or 3rd grade, whatever you want to call it.
You forgot this.
He also got this reading book for free this year. Each of them got a free reading book from the Good and Beautiful for signing up for their summer reading program, which was awesome. They got a little colorful map on cardstock to put stickers on as they read each book, and they each received a book in their own reading level. And I appreciated that. That was fun. The one other subject that I'm not going to show you is teaching textbooks because it's online. That's something I'm going to purchase today. Today's going to be our first day of school. The kids have been begging to start school. And I've already cheated a little bit and started on their science notebooks and bird watching notebooks.
I hate that book.
Which one?
The science book.
The science book?
Not fun at all.
I love it.
She hates it. She loves it. But we're going to start for real today. I've been very busy this summer trying to do house projects, trying to do spring cleaning in the summer that I did not get done in the spring. Doing some landscaping and stuff. But we're going to double down and focus on school starting today, Lord willing. So anyway, about teaching textbooks, I'm purchasing that. It's $45 per kid. For my son, he'll be doing the level 4, and my daughter, Becca, will be doing the level 3. And the only thing I would say about teaching textbooks, I absolutely love it, is that on the level 3, it introduces multiplication, but it goes through it very fast. I don't think it has enough repetition or time to allow the child to absorb the multiplication facts. So you will need to do that on the side with flashcards. Just drill that and make sure they know those facts because they need to have that foundation. What we did, or are doing for some, is Good and the Beautiful's musical multiplication. It's 4 little books in a box about this size that comes with music downloads, and it has a song for each math fact. Like, what's an example of a song they have? 8 times 8, or 9 times 9 is 81. 81 beats upon my drum. And that they memorize those little tunes.
3 times 3 is 9. 9 monkeys on a vine.
3 times 3 is 9, 9 monkeys on a vine. So, I know I'm forgetting something because I always forget stuff, but that's basically our curriculum lineup for this year. No, I got your handwriting. And I know it's a little chaotic and hodgepodge and featherbrain, but that's just how I am. And if you want a more detailed flip through of any of these books that you've seen, let me know. I'd be glad to do that. I think I'm going to go through our morning basket lineup. I've designed a little printable schedule for our morning basket time. And what else? Just let me know if you have any ideas. I'm not really doing this to gain followers. I want to be a help and a blessing to those who are starting out in homeschooling or are like me and like to see what others' ideas are, what curriculum they picked. I love watching curriculum unboxings myself, and hope this was helpful to you. Bye.